My name is Mike Matthews, the host of the longest-running self-produced daily podcast on planet Earth by a guy named Mike in the land of Ameritopica. It is Mike's Daily Podcast, and it's FFF episode 3072. I do not use any profanity on this podcast, partly because it actually airs on a radio station in Camarillo, California, called Cama Radio. Find out more at camaradio.org. And I got more about some cool thing they're doing coming up soon. I'll be talking about a little later on the podcast. But I have always been profanity averse. And I guess, I don't know if it's because I was put in a school from kindergarten to 8th grade. No. Well, close to that. Yeah, that's right. It was 8th grade. That's right. From kindergarten to 8. So for like 9 years, I was in a school that was run by Baptists. And this was in California, Southern California, in the town of Van Nuys. So it was very odd because you're getting that Southern Baptist religion, Christianity, but you're also in California. You're also in Van Nuys, which I think you may or may not know. Maybe you do, what Van Nuys is known for. And I guess partly it was known for that Bob's Big Boy restaurant that David Lynch used to go to all the time, apparently. He used to like the milkshakes they made there. No, but we're talking, speaking of movies, we're talking about a type of movie that really, I shall go further not about it, but there was a movie done called Boogie Nights that talked all about it. The point is that, oh yeah, Burt Reynolds was in that. Interesting. That just why that all came to mind. The point was that I was trying to get to is I don't do profanity on this podcast. And there was a physician named Robert Hamilton who said, first, words evoke images and have meaning. This comes from the Wall Street Journal too. Humans have advanced through verbal communication, and this ability has allowed us to survive. When someone shouts out the word wolves, I, along with everyone else, immediately visualize a pack of wolves coming and seeking shelter. Likewise, when a scatological term is employed to describe a situation, I envision the physical form of that word too. And while having dinner, my appetite isn't enhanced. Second, as a pediatrician, I know that young ears listen to what adults say, and they mimic what they hear. Third, foul language is cheap. Foul language is cheap. Comedians employ it to get nervous laughs. Teenagers seem cool when they use it, and they use it to get their parents' attention. But dirty words don't impress. They're anti-intellectual, and they are uncreative. Fourth, it's the language of the insane. Living in a city with lots of homeless people, I encounter mentally unstable people daily. Most are silently absorbed in their own thoughts, but some sound off, and their diatribes consist of a truncated shock vocabulary of 5 to 10 vulgarities. The exact same potty words that my dinner mate from Ivy League used. And, oh, was that the end of that? Oh. But, yeah, it was the great Gary Shandling. No, wait, he didn't. Did he cuss a lot? George Carlin, who talked about the words you can't say on the radio. But he used them in a stand-up, and people laughed because these words they're shock. And what happens with comedy is very similar to physics and to the atomic world, and actually particularly photons. So when you move a photon, wait, what is it? Is the electron, when you take an electron out of orbit and you put it back, is that what emits a photon? Okay, comedy is like that because it's Mike trying to describe what comedy is what's comedy. No, it is that sudden shock, that jolt, your brain trying to make a leap over a chasm. And when it hears a bad word, that from growing up as a child, you hear these words and you're not supposed to say these words, or they have, let's face it, most vulgarity or profanity is bad words, are words that have a certain structure to them. The consonants, the way they're standing together, make you laugh. The way it's the K sounds, for example, are very synonymous with words that make you laugh. They say if you can have a K word in your punchline, you've got a good punchline there. This is one thing I've learned from what I've heard comedians say. But I've always believed this. I used to have an employee that worked for me who would cuss constantly, would use curse words constantly. And it was so just jarring, especially with the fact that our company likes to tout that they're a Christian-owned company, and there are a lot of radio stations that they have where they have pastors on the air, and of course that's not good to have someone using bad words, cuss words, close to a pastor. That's not a good idea. And I was so very happy when the employee left. He left on his own accord, but I don't think he was going to be around much longer as we had to talk to him constantly. You cannot say words like that. And then he got on a thing that is very popular. Well, it was popular during COVID. I think it's called Clubhouse. Used to be with what used to be called Twitter. And he would yell at a bunch of other sports enthusiasts over certain teams and certain players. And he would use foul language constantly and just shout these words out. And we were just, he somehow is now working for a very well-known scientific foundation that actually works with physics and atoms and the atomic theories that there are. And he works with a lot of scientists. If he's using the same language he was using around us, I don't see how he's going to be employed much longer. But somehow he's worked there for like 3 years. So maybe he's gotten a handle on it. Sadly, I wish that was more of the case with a lot of podcasters. I'd say 99% of the podcasts that I hear have people that use a lot of profanity, that use foul language constantly in their podcasts. And they do it to get a rise, to be like a shock jock. They all want to be Howard Stern. And it's just so, why? Where's the creativity in that? What type of person are you trying to appeal to? Sadly, 90% of movies and most of what you see on streaming television is that way too. As we go into Café Anyway, let me get the door for you. Café Anyway. Welcome to Café Anyway.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
It is FFF episode 3072. 3072, and Mike Matthews in a show called
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Here on the podcast where Mike Matthews talks to people like Chely Shoehart. She's a gift shop supervisor, and she's really smart. She comes up with these inventions and ideas and things that she only shares with the fine people here that listen to the podcast that's called Mike's Daily Podcast. Squares are these odd shapes that
Mike's Daily Podcast
that are not as exciting as circles, from what I found. But
Mike's
I don't know.
Daily
Circumference
Podcast
versus right angles.
Yeah!
This is all in my mind. How about car loans? I have never gotten a car loan. I just buy used cars when I have to. I'm forced to buy. I fight it with every fiber in my being, trying to buy a car. And then one day it's like, oh, well, I guess I gotta do it. I gotta do it. I once bought a car, a pickup truck, that I had for, I think, 12 years. That's, I guess, about the longest I've had a car. And the guy was so nice. He got me such a deal This was back in the early 90s. The name of his little car company, his little auto sales company was called Repo Auto Sales. Repo. Like the Repo Man, which had gotten to be a big movie just like 5 or 6 years earlier. I loved that. Well, the only problem with it came with it's like a camper shell type thing. And man, it leaked. It was a false sense of security because it would get all moldy and disgusting. And at one point, my mom said, I'm moving out of my house. All the stuff you have in your old room, I'm throwing out unless you come pick it up. So I picked it up and I left it in the back of this pickup truck under the camper shell, thinking it'd be fine.
And here's today's podcast picture.
Oh, cat alert. Cat alert. No. Actually, the podcast picture's not of Rocky the cat, but of a very cool place in Podcastro Valley. There's a nice walk you can take. It's called the 10 Hills Trail. And I was on this walk with my lovely lady friend a couple weeks ago, and I got this picture. Beautiful trees all along the way, like different type of oak trees. So see it at mikesdailypodcast.com. And if you want to see Rocky the cat, who's on my lap right now, you can go to mikesdailypodcast.com. There's a video section. As you scroll down there, you see sometimes Mike does video, and there's Rocky's barking. No, that's not Rocky. That's the late great Basil the boxer, who walked on 10 Hills Trail with me many a time. So there you can see that, mikesdailypodcast.com. Yeah. So I had this car for a long time. It stunk of mildew and stuff in the back of where the camper shell was, that wasn't really sealed correctly. And I didn't fix it. So the stuff that I had taken from my mom's house, it all got moldy. I had to throw out a bunch of my childhood old comic books and things because it got all full of mildew. And there's also a great story. There was a country singer who got really popular for a while. In fact, if you ever heard of the band Rascal Flatts, well, they used to be her backup band. Her name was Chely Wright. I don't know if she still sings or not. She came out, announced to the world that she was a lesbian, and then Nashville turned its back on her, and well, it's kind of a sad story. There's a great movie about the documentary, but about it.
Is that why you're bald, Mike?
This documentary? No.
Okay.
But Chely Wright was a really nice lady. I interviewed her a couple times when I was doing country radio, K-Hay Radio in Ventura County, California. And she had done a concert at the Majestic Ventura Theater, and I happened to run into her right afterwards. She was with a friend. Don't know what kind of friend, but there was a friend with her. And they were like, hey, we're wondering where the beach is. And since we were in downtown Ventura, I said, hey, I will drive you guys to the beach. And so we were about to get in my pickup truck, and it turned out that I had a bunch of stuff in the passenger seat, so I was like, oh, okay, I got to get this stuff out of the passenger seat so they can sit there in the car with me, in the cab. And Chely Wright said, hey, let me help you move some of this stuff back there. Well, not only did the camper shell leak, but the door that you open to get to the camper shell, the hydraulic thingy that keeps it open, well, it wasn't working anymore. So you would open it and you'd have to keep holding it up. Otherwise, it'd fall on you. Well, Chely didn't know that, and it fell on her head. The door.
Danger, Will Robinson,
yeah.
danger.
I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this Nashville star, she's going to sue me. But she didn't. In fact, she remembered that story and told it at a little mini concert we had with the radio station about a year or two later. So what a voice. What a voice. Actually, the first time I heard Carrie Underwood, I thought it might have been Chely Wright. But Carrie kind of channeled Chely Wright for all of her success. That's my opinion. But my point is cars. I buy used cars when I have to get a new car. It's always used. But now, if you want a new car, the average cost is at least $47,462. So over $47,000 if you want a new car. That is very different from 5 years ago when it was a little over $38,000 $1,000. So we've gone up almost $10,000 in the past 5 years. Do you really want to be paying off your car, though, in 2032?
Hey, good looking. We'll be back to pick you up later.
Wouldn't you be rather trying out your new Mr. Microphone? Do they still make those? More new car shoppers are taking on 7-year loans. That's the trend, 7-year loans. Tell me a time to kill the 7-year loan. A trend that underscores the rising cost of financing a vehicle. 7-year loans, almost 20% of all new vehicles that are financed by dealers, they go with the 7-year loan. That in the first quarter of this year, that was the case. As we go outside of Café Anyway, where we bring you Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcastro Valley, the last place on earth in the land of Ameritopica. The average new car customer borrowed a little over $41,000. They borrowed that much to buy the car, because new cars are, the average new car is over $41,000. So, as we look at Café Anyway, the interest rate is 7.1%. 7.1. I don't like interest rates, and 7% seems, well, I mean, it's better than 17%, but hey. That means the average monthly payment you're doing on a car is $741. You got $741 lying around this month? Well, it's going over to it's paying off the car. For 7 years, you'll be doing that. Those financing terms then, so on top of the cost of the car, whatever you agreed to pay for it, you're going to pay an extra $9,231 in interest. What? That's how much people are paying on average to pay off their new cars. $9,231. 9231. Wasn't that what great show? Beverly Hills? No, that's not what it was. And my cat is leaving my lap. There, fine. Not angry. Car loans have grown steadily longer in years. Yes, people are taking longer. The cat's playing with the wonderful thing that's like a ball and a little race stuck in a trough that goes round in circles.
Mike is awesome.
Thank you. Oh, I got that information from that guy right there. I produce his podcast. His name is Rob Black. He's heard on AM 1220 KDOW weekday afternoons at 5. And then he's on Cron TV Monday through Thursday in the 9 o'clock hour, 9 a.m. Okay, so the car loans have grown longer in recent years. Buyers are trying to keep pace with rising prices. Buyers are trying to keep up with these prices, so they're doing the longer loans. You see how it's going. Decades ago, 3 and 4 year car loans were the standard. So it used to be 3 and 4 years, now 7. Fascinating. Outside of Café Anyway, somewhere in Podcastro Valley, look who's here. Oh my God, these are Chely Shoehart, gift shop supervisor. I like cars, but I only buy the new ones. Only when I sold a lot of snow globe. Ah, so you buy wow. You sell that many snow globes? Yeah, they're exploding snow globes, Mike. Everybody wants one. I think what you're causing is sort of a bit of mayhem in this world. In the month of May, you're causing mayhem. Mayhem. Is that what it is? Okay. Wow, snow globes. Who would have thought that they could be a cash cow, as it were? Moo. And it's a trap. It's a trap. Don't get into it. Car loans, I don't think you should do it, but who am I? I'm not your financial consultant, so just my little, from what I've discovered in life. A financial advisor I once talked to said that he was debt averse. I thought it was an interesting way of putting it. Debt averse. I'm also, let's see, what is it? I am movie theater averse these days. I don't want to sit in a movie theater with a bunch of people. Now, young people love it. There's a guy I work with. He's almost 30. He went and saw that Thunderbolts movie. And that tells you a lot about how that movie's doing. People are coming out of everywhere to see this Marvel movie because it's slightly different. It's more of what he called the deeper cut superheroes. But yeah, he went to see it and he had a great time. I'm not going to pay, what is it, $30 to see a movie these days? That's ridiculous. Are you nuts? No. But it's people are doing it. So.
Makes music.
Tell me why you pay that much to see a movie? Look who else is here. Oh, Mike, this is Floyd the Floorman. And this is John Deere, the engineer, Mike. That's a beautiful singing voice. You should write more songs. I should. I'm inspired because I saw this young couple in downtown Hayward recently this week. I went with a friend of mine who was telling me, all about, I was discussing Douglas Adams and about how he was all into the Apple computer. He was the first one to have an Apple computer, one of the first in Great Britain back in the 80s or whatever. And he wrote Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and he developed a special text-based game that you would basically read what you were doing, and then it was like a choose your own adventure. And we were discussing that, my friend and I, and apparently online you can still play this game, this text-based game, where if you don't answer the questions correctly, you don't advance to the next level or to the next adventure or the next part of the story. But you're reading it the whole time. I don't think there's any graphics involved. So it's fascinating. We were discussing that. I don't know if my friend actually listened to the podcast. My friend actually used to be on the podcast and did a segment called The Daily Haley, or The Almost Daily Haley, but has not been on for a while. But my point is, we went and saw a band perform. They were called Common Man, but it was a woman and a man, and they were married, and they were very young, and they're traveling across California in a van. Actually, they had just been, I think, the night before in Flagstaff, so they spent all day driving to the Bay Area to perform in Hayward, California at the B Street Bistro, and they sounded fantastic. It was basically him playing guitar, she sometimes playing bass and singing. Sometimes Chewbacca would join in. No, he wasn't there. Oh, May the 4th. Where the heck were you on the May the 4th podcast, Chewbacca? Dang. Well, he's gone already. But they sounded fantastic. And I got to talking to them afterwards, and they were from Huntsville, Alabama. I was shocked. I told them I used to live there for about 2 years. And they said, oh, when was that? I said around 2009. Oh, things have changed. They were saying, they were espousing how much has changed in Huntsville, Alabama. They had to widen the freeways. They don't call them freeways. They call them highways. And they've got all kinds of things, like a new amphitheater. They used to just have this one theater called the Von Braun Center, named after Werner von Braun, who created rockets and was a Nazi at one point. Yeah, crazy stuff. And the Big Spring Park, which is a beautiful park in downtown Huntsville. Apparently, they got rid of the old city hall. They're going to build a new building there with an adjacent park to Big Spring. Oh, all kinds of things are changing. She was just all excited about it. And she said Huntsville is very proud of their musicians. So the city council actually, or somebody involved with the Huntsville government, puts money into local bands and actually help fund their tour of California. Fantastic. I never knew any of this stuff, but I found this all out this past week. Going out. And that's why you should go out and see live music and don't pay $1 billion to see Beyonce. Or would that be Beyonce $1 billion? However much money. What is the deal? Apparently she's now advertising all the time on her Instagram. Hey, you can buy this, you can buy that. Just selling merch all the time. What, you're not some struggling artist. You and Taylor Swift, you're it. You're the biggest of the big. You outsold everything on the planet. I don't get it. Anyway, Café Anyway. Go support your local musicians, your struggling musicians, the musicians that are struggling, that are coming through town, that are playing at your little coffee house or your little bistro bar place. Go and see them. Pay money to see them. I wouldn't pay more than $30, but I'd go see them, depending on who's on the bill. If there's a couple different bands, yeah, sure. But if you are in the Camarillo area and you checked out Cama Radio, which I am on at 5:30 in the morning, camaradio.org. But in Camarillo, they are doing a fundraiser that features 2 musicians. It's going to be a fundraiser for the radio station so they can launch at 99.1 FM.
What was that all about?
It's all about local radio. Tristan Dolce, music from his indie rock release Medium True, and Jacqueline Schreiber, pop fusion indie rock piano, is going to be featured Thursday, May 22nd at 6 p.m. It's $20. So that's definitely worth it. American Pie Records. See? It's properly priced, according to Mike. But it's all to help out the folks there at Cama Radio to get it on the air and be community radio. Because that's like basically no commercials. It's great music. It's my show at 5:30 in the morning. If you're waking up and getting going, it's a fantastic thing. My point is, look who else is here. Oh, the guy that says the phone number.
Call Mike at the Café Anyway hotline. Area code 510-228-4640.
I haven't even named that guy. I should name. Let's see. I'm going to look at my great wall of CDs, and I'm just going to randomly. It's probably going to be something.
Mike, how are you?
No, not going to name it after you, Tom. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to grab this CD. Ooh, it's a big package CD. Is it 3 CDs? All right, one of them. I've just grabbed 3 CDs and thought it was one. I'm not very good at this. Okay, here we go. Oh, it's a sampler. All right, we'll go with the 10th song, whatever the artist is. We will name the phone guy after that. The 10th. Romeo. Perfect. Lil Romeo was the song. True Love was the name of the song from Lil Romeo. This came out in, wow, the print is the smallest. I'm going to not, 2002 this came out. Lil Romeo, True Love. It was a Universal Record sampler. For some reason, I have a bunch of those. And I bet you're thankful I shared.
What is the matter with you?
I don't know. I need to wrap it up. Okay, so with all things having to do with Mike's Daily Podcast, we go to the mainframe and hear from A-Frame. Thank you for listening.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at mikesdailypodcast.com.
Email Mike now at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com.
See you tomorrow. Bye.